I'm writing this in a panic. I just found a secret book in the library, and I'm not sure what to do next. I was exploring the old library that's been in my family for generations. The place is huge and filled with dusty old books and hidden corners. Today, I discovered a hidden room behind a bookcase. Inside, I found a single book on a pedestal. It was leather-bound and looked ancient, the cover adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. I couldn't resist. I opened it. The book was filled with descriptions and illustrations of horrifying entities. Each page was a nightmare, detailing creatures beyond human comprehension. Here are some of the ones I saw. The Harbinger. Description: this entity takes on the form of someone close to you. Its eyes are hollow voids, and its smile is a mask for an abyss. It manipulates and feeds off the fear and despair of its victims. The Weaver. Description: a nightmarish creature with a body made entirely of shifting shadows. It weaves these shadows into intricate webs that trap and suffocate its prey. Its presence is always accompanied by an eerie, whispering noise that seems to come from nowhere. The Devourer. Description: a monstrous being with a gaping maw that can stretch impossibly wide. It feeds on the fear of those who see it, leaving them paralyzed and eventually devouring them whole. Its skin is a sickly, translucent gray, revealing the roiling darkness within. The Faceless One. Description: an entity with a smooth, featureless face. Its body is humanoid but unnervingly fluid, like it's made of a dark, viscous substance. It communicates through a series of guttural, inhuman noises and can mimic the voices of its victims to lure them in. The Wraith of Whispers. Description: a ghostly figure that appears as a swirling mist. It whispers secrets and fears into the ears of its victims, driving them mad. The more it whispers, the stronger its hold becomes, making its victims question reality itself. The Harrower. Description: a skeletal figure cloaked in tattered robes, with eyes that burn like coals. It preys on the deepest fears of its victims, manifesting them into physical forms to torment them. Its presence brings a chilling cold that seems to freeze the very air around it. I kept flipping through the pages, feeling a growing sense of dread. Then I came across a page that made my heart stop. It depicted an entity that looked exactly like my father. The description matched his physical appearance, his height, build, even the way he holds himself. But it was more than just appearance. The book detailed behaviors and traits that mirrored my father's, his mannerisms, the way he smiles, the way he moves. The entity in the book is called the Harbinger. According to the text, the Harbinger is an ancient being that can take the form of someone close to you. It uses this guise to deceive and torment, feeding off the fear and despair of its victims. Its eyes are described as hollow voids, and its smile is just a mask for an abyss. I'm terrified. My father has been acting strangely lately, more distant, his eyes seem darker, and his smile feels different, colder. I'm trying to convince myself it's just stress or fatigue, but the descriptions in the book are too close to ignore. I haven't confronted him yet. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if something truly terrible is happening. I don't know how to approach him without making things worse or putting myself in danger. The book's warnings about the Harbinger are clear: it thrives on fear and manipulation. I don't want to become part of its game. So here I am, asking for advice. Has anyone ever dealt with something like this before? How do you confront an entity that might be masquerading as a loved one? Is there a way to verify if someone is actually a creature like the Harbinger without putting yourself in harm's way? I'm desperate for any guidance or support. Please, if you've had a similar experience or have any knowledge about dealing with entities like this, let me know. I'm terrified and don't know what steps to take next. Update. I'm still trying to process everything, and my anxiety is through the roof. I've been trying to stay calm and keep a low profile, but the fear is consuming me. I'm hoping to get some advice soon. If anyone has experienced something similar or has any suggestions on how to handle this situation, please reach out. Please help. Update. I'm still in the library, and things are getting even more unsettling. After posting earlier, I tried to keep my distance from my father. I thought maybe I was just overreacting, but the strange behavior has only intensified. It's as if he's trying to play some kind of twisted game with me. The last few hours have been a blur of anxiety and fear. I've been observing him from a safe distance, and I've noticed several things that are making me question my sanity. Unusual behavior: he's been moving around the house at odd hours, peeking into rooms as if he's searching for something. He seems to be following a pattern, almost like he's trying to figure out my movements. Disturbing sightings: every so often, I catch glimpses of him in the corners of my vision, and he looks different. His face seems more gaunt, his eyes darker. The changes are subtle but unnerving. Strange sounds: I've heard scratching noises coming from the walls at night, almost like something is trying to get through. The noises started shortly after I found the book, and they're getting louder. Unsettling conversations: when we've talked, his responses have been strange and disjointed. He answers questions with questions, and his tone is off, cold and detached. I've been too afraid to confront him directly. The book warned me that the harbinger feeds on fear and manipulation, and I'm terrified of making things worse. So instead, I've been trying to gather more information and I've been researching protective measures and ways to dispel entities like the harbinger. I've come across a few potential methods, including salt circles. I've read that creating a circle of salt can help ward off malevolent entities. I'm considering setting one up around my room for protection. Ancient symbols. Some sources suggest that drawing or displaying ancient symbols can offer protection. I'm looking into which symbols might be effective against the harbinger. Avoidance. The book mentioned that avoiding direct confrontation and keeping a low profile can sometimes deter entities. I'm trying to stay out of my father's way as much as possible. I'm desperate for any advice or guidance on how to handle this situation. If you have any experience with dealing with entities like the harbinger or have suggestions on protective measures, please share them. I'm afraid that if I don't act soon, things could get much worse. Thank you to everyone who's reached out already. Your support means a lot during this terrifying time. Update. I'm updating again because something just happened that I can't ignore. I was in the library, looking through old books for more information when I heard a loud crash from the kitchen. I went to check it out, and the kitchen was a mess. Everything was thrown around, and the window was shattered. I'm not sure if it's related to my father or if something else is happening, but the sense of dread is overwhelming. I don't know if I can stay in the house much longer. I'm considering reaching out to someone for help, but I'm afraid they might not believe me or could be in danger themselves. Please, if you have any advice on what to do next or if there's anyone who can offer real help in this situation, let me know. I feel like I'm running out of options. Thank you. Update. I need to update everyone on what's been happening. I made the decision to leave the library and go to the family home to talk to the rest of my family about what I've discovered. I didn't tell my father I was leaving. I felt it was too dangerous to involve him directly. I arrived at the family home a few hours ago. It's a small, cozy place where my siblings and I grew up. The moment I walked in, I felt a mix of relief and anxiety. I knew I needed to share what I'd found and get some advice, but I was worried about how they would react. Here's how it went. Explaining the situation, I gathered my siblings in the living room and told them about the hidden room in the library, the book I found, and the entities described in it. I focused on the details that matched our father's behavior and appearance, without going into too much detail about the harbinger itself. I tried to present it as a possible explanation for the unsettling changes I've noticed. Reactions. My siblings were shocked and initially skeptical. They listened intently but were reluctant to believe that our father could be anything other than himself. However, after I showed them the descriptions and illustrations from the book, they started to take it more seriously. Concern and support. My sister was particularly concerned and suggested we try to reach out to a local expert on paranormal phenomena. My brother, who is more practical, suggested we gather more evidence before taking any drastic steps. They agreed to help me keep an eye on our father and watch for any further strange behavior. Plan of action. We decided on a few immediate steps. Surveillance. We'll set up some cameras around the house to monitor my father's behavior and check for any unusual activities. Consulting experts. My sister is going to look into local paranormal experts who might be able to offer advice or assistance. Safety measures. We agreed to take extra precautions at home, including setting up salt circles and displaying protective symbols around the house, just as a precaution. I'm still scared, and I feel a sense of urgency. My siblings are being very supportive, but I can't shake the feeling that time is running out. I haven't told them everything about the Harbinger yet. I'm afraid it might push them to panic or act impulsively. For now, we're working together to stay vigilant and keep our family safe. If anyone has experience with dealing with entities or any advice on how to handle a situation like this, please let me know. I'll keep updating as things progress. Thank you for your support and guidance during this terrifying time. Update. Things have taken another strange turn. I just received a message from one of my siblings saying that my father has been asking about me, specifically, if I'm planning anything or if I've been talking to anyone. It's unsettling, especially since he's been acting so distant and eerie. I'm not sure if this is a sign that he's aware of our plans or if something else is happening. I'm worried that he might be getting more dangerous. We're trying to keep our movements discreet, but this new development is making me even more anxious. Please, if anyone has any advice or can offer support, let me know. I'm feeling overwhelmed and unsure of how to proceed. Thank you. Update 3 months later. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I wanted to share what we've discovered after reviewing the surveillance footage with my family. Over the past few months, we've been monitoring my father's behavior closely. We set up cameras around the house and kept a detailed log of any unusual activity. My siblings and I reviewed the footage together recently, hoping to find some answers. Here's what we found. Unsettling footage. The surveillance videos showed some very disturbing patterns. My father's behavior was erratic and unsettling. There were moments when he seemed to be talking to himself, moving in and out of rooms with an almost ritualistic precision. Sometimes he would just stand in a room, staring at the walls for hours, as if waiting for something. Unexplained occurrences. We also captured several incidents that defy explanation. Objects moved on their own, lights flickered without reason, and doors creaked open and shut as if pushed by an invisible force. There were also strange, shadowy figures caught fleetingly on camera, though they were never clearly identifiable. Inexplicable behavior. The most disturbing footage was from late at night. My father would often be seen standing in front of the mirror in the library, staring at his reflection for long periods. His expression was vacant, and he appeared to be engaged in some kind of silent communication with his reflection. The confrontation. After reviewing the footage, we had a family meeting. My siblings and I discussed our findings and the implications. We're more convinced than ever that something is seriously wrong. It's difficult to say definitively if the Harbinger is involved, but the evidence suggests that something malevolent is affecting our father. Next steps. We've decided to take a more proactive approach. We're reaching out to a local expert on the supernatural who might help us understand what we're dealing with and how to deal with it effectively. We're also considering professional help to perform a cleansing of the house and possibly seek out any historical records that might shed light on the entity or the book. I'm still deeply unsettled and anxious about the situation. The footage has only heightened our fears, but it's also given us a clearer picture of what's going on. My family and I are trying to stay strong and focused, but the uncertainty and fear are taking their toll. If anyone has any advice or experience with handling situations like this, please let us know. We're open to any suggestions that might help us protect ourselves and our home from whatever is lurking in the shadows. Thank you for your continued support and understanding during this challenging time. I'll keep updating as we learn more. Update. Since our last update, we've made some progress. We had a local expert come in, and they performed a ritual cleansing of the house. It seems to have helped a bit, but we're still vigilant. I'll post again if there are any significant developments. Thank you for your patience and support. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I want to close this chapter by sharing what has happened since then, including a significant development. After the last update, my family and I continued to deal with the situation as best we could. Here's a summary of what's transpired. Ongoing vigilance. We remained vigilant and kept up with the protective measures and monitoring. The local experts' cleansing seemed to make a difference initially, but we noticed that the unsettling occurrences didn't completely stop. However, they did become less frequent and intense. Family support. With the support of my siblings, we were able to create a safer environment in the house. We made sure to stay united and continue our efforts to keep any potential malevolent influences at bay. It's been a comfort to have them by my side through this ordeal. Expert insights. The paranormal expert we consulted provided some valuable insights. They confirmed that our father's behavior was consistent with what they described as a form of possession or influence by a malevolent entity. While we didn't have definitive proof of the harbinger's involvement, they advised us to maintain our protective measures and continue to monitor the situation. Confronting the entity. About a month ago, we reached a turning point. I decided to confront the entity directly. Armed with the knowledge from the book and the advice from the paranormal expert, I gathered my siblings and performed a ritual in the library, where the entity seemed to be most active. The ritual. We created a salt circle around the room and drew protective symbols on the walls. We used incense and sacred chants to attempt to drive out any malevolent presence. It was a tense and nerve-wracking experience, but we felt a shift in the atmosphere as we performed the ritual. The encounter. During the ritual, we experienced an intense surge of cold and heard what sounded like anguished whispers. My father was in the other room, and we made sure he was safe and unaware of what was happening. The air felt thick with a sense of resistance, but as we completed the ritual, the oppressive feeling gradually lifted. A change in behavior. After the confrontation, my father's behavior started to stabilize. He's still not quite the same as he was before, but he's less erratic and seems to have regained some of his previous demeanor. We've continued to keep a close eye on him, but the overall sense of dread has lessened. Moving forward, we've decided to focus on moving forward and rebuilding a sense of normalcy. The house has felt more secure, and while we're still cautious, we're hopeful that the worst is behind us. We've also made it a point to stay informed and prepared for any potential issues that may arise in the future. This will be my final update. I'm grateful for your support and hope to. Story 2. I live in a small, secluded town that has long been known for its peculiar and unsettling customs. Our town, surrounded by dense, foreboding woods, has always practiced ancient rituals and worshipped entities that most would consider horrifying. It's a place where shadows hold secrets and the air is thick with dread. Today, I witnessed something that has shaken me to my core, the appearance of the most feared entity of all, Entity Zero. The town's dark secrets. From the outside, our town appears like any other. Quaint houses line cobblestone streets, and the townspeople go about their daily routines with a veneer of normalcy. However, beneath this surface lies a dark truth. Our town was founded on ancient, forbidden rites and is deeply enmeshed in worshipping entities that defy comprehension. Each year, the townsfolk perform rituals in the deepest part of the woods, where the veil between our world and the unknown is thinnest. The entities we worship are feared by many, monstrous beings from realms beyond our understanding, their very presence evoking primal terror. The rituals. Our rituals are meticulous and chilling. They involve dark incantations, intricate symbols drawn in blood, and offerings that would make any outsider recoil in horror. The purpose of these rites is said to be appeasing the entities, ensuring their favor and maintaining a tenuous peace between our world and theirs. The day I saw Entity Zero. Today, something happened that has left me in a state of paralyzing fear. During the twilight hours, when the sky was a bruised purple and the shadows grew long, I ventured into the woods on a dare from friends. They spoke of the old legends and dared me to see if they were true. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and bravado, I agreed. As I wandered deeper into the woods, the familiar rituals and symbols became more pronounced, etched into trees and rocks, pulsating with a sinister glow. The air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over me. Then, I saw it, Entity Zero. Entity Zero, the most feared. Entity Zero is a being of indescribable horror. Its form is ever-shifting, a mass of writhing shadows and flickering lights. Its presence exudes a sense of ancient malice and incomprehensible power. Its eyes, if you can call them that, are like voids, swallowing light and hope alike. Witnessing Entity Zero was like staring into the abyss of madness itself. The very ground beneath me seemed to pulse with its breath, and the air was filled with whispers in an unknown language. I could feel an oppressive weight on my chest, as if the entity's mere existence was trying to crush my spirit. The ritual's purpose. As I watched from a hidden vantage point, I saw the townspeople performing their most sacred and terrifying ritual. They chanted in a language that seemed to distort reality itself, their voices rising in a crescendo that made my skin crawl. The ritual was meant to sustain the entity, to maintain the pact that bound it to our world and keep it from unleashing its full fury. I watched in horror as the entity seemed to respond, its form coalescing and expanding. The whispers grew louder, and I felt as though I was on the verge of losing my sanity. The sense of dread was almost tangible, and I could not tear my eyes away from the ghastly scene. The aftermath. The ritual concluded, and the townspeople retreated, leaving Entity Zero alone in the dark woods. I fled from my hiding place, my heart pounding and my mind racing. I could feel the entity's gaze lingering on me, a chilling reminder that I had witnessed something that should never have been seen. My fearful future. Since that night, my fear has only deepened. The knowledge that Entity Zero exists and that it is bound by our town's rituals is both terrifying and overwhelming. I am afraid of what it means for me personally. The entity's presence feels like a shadow that follows me, a dark promise of retribution for my intrusion. I worry about the impact of my knowledge on my own safety. The townspeople's loyalty to these entities is unwavering, and any hint of dissent or fear could lead to dangerous consequences. I am left grappling with the weight of this secret, knowing that the darkness I have seen may never let me go. Conclusion. As I continue to live in this town, I am haunted by the knowledge of Entity Zero and the rituals performed in its name. The fear and dread that have taken hold of me are unrelenting, a constant reminder of the horrors that lie hidden in the woods. I can only hope that my presence remains unnoticed and that the entity's gaze does not find me again. In a town where shadows whisper and ancient powers are worshipped, I am left with a chilling realization. Some secrets are better left undisturbed, and some entities are best left unseen. Update. Overview. It has been 3 years since I witnessed the horrifying presence of Entity Zero in the woods. Since that night, my life has been plagued by relentless nightmares, and the fear of the entity's gaze has become an unshakable shadow over my existence. I have come to the grave conclusion that escaping this town is not just a desire but a necessity for the safety of myself and my family. Here is an update on the current situation and the steps we plan to take. Persistent nightmares and psychological toll. Nightmare details. Recurring visions. Every night, Entity Zero reappears in my dreams, its form shifting and writhing in the darkness. These nightmares are more than mere dreams. They are visceral and haunting, leaving me drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. Psychological impact. The constant presence of Entity Zero in my dreams has led to severe anxiety and insomnia. The boundaries between reality and nightmare have blurred, making everyday life increasingly difficult to navigate. Family impact. Shared distress. My family, especially my sister and parents, are also affected by the growing tension and my deteriorating mental state. They have noticed my distress and the increasing frequency of my nightmares, which has caused them concern. Urgent need to escape. Rationale for leaving. Safety concerns. The fear that Entity Zero's presence is linked to my mental state and the ominous possibility of its influence extending beyond dreams compels me to believe that staying in this town is unsafe. The entity's grasp on my psyche might be a prelude to something far worse. Family well-being. My primary concern is the well-being of my sister and parents. Their exposure to the same dark energy that has afflicted me is a pressing issue that needs to be addressed. Plan of action. Preparation for departure. Gathering supplies. We are in the process of gathering essential supplies and documents to facilitate a swift and discreet departure from the town. This includes necessary identification, personal belongings, and any important records. Securing transportation. Arrangements are being made for transportation out of the town. We are exploring options for vehicles and routes that minimize exposure to potential risks. Planning the escape. Timing. We plan to leave under the cover of night to avoid drawing attention and to ensure a smooth exit. The timing is crucial to avoid any potential interference or observation by the townspeople. Route. We have selected a route that avoids areas known for ritualistic activity and potential dangers. Our goal is to reach a safe location where we can regroup and seek refuge. Seeking assistance. Outside help. We are considering reaching out to trusted contacts or authorities outside the town to assist us in our escape and provide support once we are away from the town. Safe haven. Identifying a secure place to stay temporarily after our departure is a priority. This location should offer protection and a chance to recover from the psychological and emotional toll of our experiences. Anticipated challenges. Potential obstacles. Town's reaction. We are concerned about how the townspeople might react to our departure. There is a risk of them discovering our plans or attempting to intervene. Entity's influence. The possibility that Entity Zero's influence might extend beyond nightmares and impact our physical reality is a significant concern. We are preparing ourselves mentally for the possibility of further encounters or manifestations. Emotional preparedness. Coping strategies. To manage the stress of leaving and the uncertainty of what lies ahead, we are employing coping strategies such as deep breathing, meditation, and support from mental health professionals where possible. Family support. Ensuring that we support each other emotionally and stay united in this challenging time is crucial. Open communication and mutual support will help us navigate the fear and uncertainty. Conclusion. The decision to escape the town is driven by the urgent need to protect ourselves from the pervasive and haunting influence of Entity Zero. The nightmares and psychological impact have made it clear that our safety and mental health are at risk. We are taking all necessary steps to ensure a safe and discreet departure, and we hope that leaving this town will allow us to find peace and begin the process of healing. Further updates will be provided once we have successfully executed our escape and reached a safe location. Thank you for your understanding and support during this harrowing time. Update. Overview. Before making the final decision to escape the town, I undertook one last effort to uncover more about Entity Zero's origins. This research was driven by a need to understand the nature of the entity that has haunted my nightmares and to gather any critical information that might be useful in ensuring the safety of my family and myself. Here is what I discovered about Entity Zero's origins, its nature, and its significance. Research findings on Entity Zero. Origins and history. Ancient beginnings. Primordial entity. Entity Zero is believed to be one of the oldest beings known to exist, originating from a primordial void that predates our reality. Its existence is tied to the earliest epochs of the universe, a time before time itself. Cosmic mythology. In the ancient texts and forgotten myths, Entity Zero is often referred to as a cosmic void or eldritch abyss. It is said to be a being of pure chaos, existing beyond the fabric of known dimensions. Cultural significance. Ritualistic worship. Different cultures across the ages have worshipped or sought to appease Entity Zero, believing it to be a source of immense power and destruction. Its worship often involved dark rituals intended to maintain a balance or prevent its wrath from being unleashed upon the world. Legends and fables. Legends describe Entity Zero as a shapeshifter with the power to alter reality and instill madness in those who behold it. Its appearance is often associated with periods of great upheaval or existential threat. Physical description and powers. Form and appearance. Shapeless horror. Entity Zero is described as a formless entity, its appearance shifting and fluctuating between different shapes and colors. It is often depicted as a swirling mass of shadows and voids, with eyes that are said to be bottomless abysses. Reality distortion. Its presence is accompanied by severe reality distortion, with the ability to alter physical laws and manipulate perceptions. Those who encounter it may experience hallucinations, altered time perception, and intense psychological distress. Abilities and influence. Psychic influence. Entity Zero has a profound psychic influence, capable of invading the minds of individuals and implanting nightmares or visions. This influence extends beyond mere fear, potentially driving individuals to madness or suicidal behavior. Dimensional manipulation. It has the power to breach dimensions and create rifts between worlds, making it a significant threat to the stability of multiple realities. The town's role and the rituals. Historical pact. Ancient agreement. The town's rituals are part of an ancient pact established centuries ago to appease Entity Zero and prevent it from wreaking havoc. This pact involved dark rites meant to sustain a fragile balance between the entity and our world. Eldritch practices. The rituals performed by the townsfolk are designed to maintain the entity's containment and prevent it from breaking free from its dimensional prison. The ceremonies are conducted at specific times and involve arcane symbols and offerings. Current observations. Unraveling of the pact. Recent disruptions and changes in the town's rituals have led to increased manifestations of Entity Zero, including its presence in my nightmares. The weakening of the pact may be contributing to the entity's growing influence and the escalating terror experienced by the townspeople. Implications for my departure. Understanding the threat. Preparation. The knowledge of Entity Zero's origins and its capabilities underscores the urgency of our departure. Its ability to manipulate reality and influence minds poses a significant threat that must be addressed immediately. Protection. The research highlights the importance of severing ties with the town's rituals and ensuring that we are not exposed to any residual influence from the entity. Our escape plan must account for potential lingering effects or manifestations. Final steps. Securing safe exit. Execution of escape plan. Finalize the arrangements for our escape, ensuring that all necessary precautions are in place to avoid any last-minute complications or interference. Mental preparation. Prepare ourselves mentally for the transition away from the town, focusing on maintaining clarity and composure despite the lingering fear and anxiety. Seeking help. External assistance. Reach out to external sources of support or expertise that can provide additional guidance and protection as we leave the town and seek refuge. Conclusion. The additional research into Entity Zero's origins has provided valuable insights into the nature of the entity and the rituals performed to manage its influence. This knowledge reinforces the necessity of our departure and the importance of safeguarding our mental and physical well-being. As we prepare to leave, our primary focus is on ensuring a safe exit and finding a place of refuge where we can begin to heal from the trauma. Thank you for your understanding and support during this harrowing time. Further updates will follow once we have successfully left the town and are settled in a safe location. Update. Overview. We have successfully made our way out of the town, but the escape was not without its profound losses and difficulties. The threat of Entity Zero has not only chased us from our home but also claimed a dearly loved member of our family. Here is an account of the escape and the devastating outcome. Escape from the town. The journey. Departure. We executed our escape plan under the cover of night as planned, leaving behind the town's dark rituals and the looming threat of Entity Zero. The journey was fraught with tension, and we took great care to avoid detection by the townspeople. Pursuit. Despite our best efforts, it became clear that Entity Zero was not willing to let us leave easily. The entity's presence seemed to follow us, creating a chilling atmosphere and exacerbating our fear. Shadows and distorted shapes appeared along our route, intensifying the sense of being pursued. The loss. The incident, during a critical moment of our escape, as we were navigating a particularly treacherous stretch of road, Entity Zero's influence became overwhelming. The entity's presence manifested as an almost tangible force, causing confusion and panic. Mother's fate. In the chaos, our mother was separated from us. The pursuit by Entity Zero grew more intense, and she was caught in its grasp. Despite our desperate efforts to reach her, we were unable to save her. We witnessed her being engulfed by the shadows of Entity Zero, and she disappeared from sight. Aftermath and emotional impact. Family and emotional toll. Grief and trauma. The loss of our mother has left us devastated. The trauma of witnessing her being taken by Entity Zero, combined with the stress of the escape, has deeply affected us. The weight of her absence is a heavy burden, and we are grappling with our grief and shock. Survivor's guilt. There is a profound sense of guilt and helplessness among us. We are haunted by the fact that we were unable to protect her or bring her to safety. The memories of her final moments and the entity's relentless pursuit are a source of ongoing anguish. Current status. Safe location. We have reached a temporary safe haven away from the town and Entity Zero's influence. This location offers a degree of protection and respite, allowing us to begin the process of healing and recovery. Mental health. We are seeking support from mental health professionals to help us cope with the trauma and loss we have experienced. The emotional impact of the escape and the loss of our mother is a significant challenge that requires time and care. Moving forward. Next steps. Healing and support. Counseling. Engage in counseling and therapy to address the psychological impact of the escape and the loss of our mother. Support groups and mental health resources will be crucial in our recovery process. Family support. Focus on supporting each other as a family, fostering open communication and mutual care to navigate the grief and trauma together. Safety and security. Continued vigilance. Remain vigilant and ensure that we are secure from any further threats related to Entity Zero. We will continue to monitor our surroundings and take precautions to protect ourselves. Long-term plans. Begin planning for a more permanent relocation and establishment of a new life away from the shadows of our past. This includes finding a stable and safe environment where we can rebuild our lives. Honoring our mother. Memorial. Find a meaningful way to honor our mother's memory and legacy. This may involve creating a memorial or engaging in activities that celebrate her life and the love she brought to our family. Conclusion. The escape from the town marked a significant turning point in our lives, but it came at the tragic cost of losing our mother to Entity Zero. As we navigate this difficult period, we are committed to supporting each other and finding ways to heal from the profound loss and trauma we have experienced. We appreciate the support and understanding extended during this challenging time. Further updates will be provided as we continue to seek stability and come to terms with the aftermath of our harrowing journey. Update 13 years later. 13 years have passed since we escaped from the town and the horrifying influence of Entity Zero. Life has been a challenging but relatively stable journey as we've worked to rebuild and find peace. However, today brought a terrifying development. My son reported seeing Entity Zero near our house. The discovery has reawakened deep-seated fears and concerns about the lingering threat of the entity. Recent developments. The incident. Son's experience. Today, my son came to me visibly shaken, recounting a disturbing experience. He described seeing a dark, shifting presence outside our house. His description was eerily similar to what I remember about Entity Zero. He mentioned seeing a formless, shadowy figure that seemed to distort reality around it. Detailed account. According to my son, the entity appeared near our property late at night. He reported seeing strange lights and hearing whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The entity's form was indistinct, constantly changing, with eyes that seemed like bottomless voids staring through the darkness. Entity Zero's description. Appearance. Shapeless and distorted, Entity Zero, as described by my son, matches the previous accounts of its appearance, an amorphous and ever-shifting mass of darkness. Its form was not consistent, but rather seemed to ebb and flow as if it were a living shadow. Reality distortion. The entity was reported to cause visible distortions in reality around it. Objects appeared to warp, and the air felt unnaturally cold and oppressive. The whispers my son heard were described as a disorienting cacophony of voices. Behavior. Unsettling presence. Entity Zero's presence is characterized by an overwhelming sense of dread and psychological discomfort. It seems to evoke deep fears and paranoia, as noted by my son's experience. Lingering threat. The fact that Entity Zero has appeared near our home suggests that its influence may not be entirely vanquished, and it might still have a lingering connection to us. Immediate actions. Family response. Reassurance. We have reassured my son and provided comfort, though it is clear that this encounter has deeply unsettled him. We are taking measures to help him cope with the fear and anxiety caused by this experience. Safety precautions. In light of this disturbing development, we are implementing immediate safety precautions. This includes increasing security measures around our home and being vigilant about any unusual occurrences. Investigation. Checking surroundings. We are conducting a thorough investigation of our property and surroundings to ensure there are no physical threats or anomalies that might be contributing to these experiences. Seeking expertise. We are reaching out to experts in paranormal phenomena and psychological health to better understand and address the potential reemergence of Entity Zero's influence. Emotional and psychological impact. Family impact. Fear and anxiety. The reappearance of Entity Zero has reignited fears from our past and caused significant anxiety within the family. We are working to support each other through this renewed period of stress and uncertainty. Mental health support. We are seeking professional counseling to address the psychological impact of this new development. This support is crucial to help us manage the fear and prevent it from overwhelming our daily lives. Future considerations. Long-term actions. Continued vigilance. We will remain vigilant and proactive in monitoring any further disturbances or signs of Entity Zero. Ensuring our safety and maintaining mental stability is our top priority. Reassessing security. We will reassess our long-term security measures and consider relocating if the situation does not improve or if the entity's presence becomes more intrusive. Reflection. Understanding the entity. We need to deepen our understanding of Entity Zero and its potential motives or reasons for resurfacing. This includes exploring any possible connections between the entity and our family's past experiences. Conclusion. The recent sighting of Entity Zero near our home has brought back intense fear and distress, echoing the dark times we thought were behind us. As we navigate this new challenge, our focus is on ensuring the safety and well-being of our family while seeking expert advice to address and mitigate the threat. Thank you for your continued support and understanding during this difficult time. Further updates will be provided as we work to manage and resolve this alarming situation. Update. In light of the recent and terrifying reappearance of Entity Zero near our home, I have made the difficult decision to return to the town we escaped from, leaving my wife and children behind for their safety. My goal is to confront the entity directly and find a definitive way to eliminate the threat once and for all. After extensive research and investigation, I believe I may have discovered a possible method to destroy Entity Zero. Here is a detailed update on my plans and findings. Decision to return. Rationale. Immediate threat. The reappearance of Entity Zero and its potential influence over our family has driven me to take decisive action. The safety of my family and the need to end the threat posed by the entity are paramount. Family safety. I have decided it is safer for my wife and children to remain in a secure location away from the town. Their well-being is my primary concern, and I believe it is crucial to shield them from the danger and emotional strain of this situation. Preparation for return. Planning. I have meticulously planned my return to the town, ensuring that I have the necessary supplies and tools for both confronting Entity Zero and navigating the dangerous environment of the town. Security measures. I am taking precautions to protect myself during this return, including carrying protective gear and means of self-defense against potential threats. Findings on Entity Zero's destruction. Research and investigation. Ancient texts and lore. Through extensive research into ancient texts, forbidden lore, and old manuscripts, I have uncovered a potential method to destroy Entity Zero. These sources offer clues on how the entity might be neutralized. Ritualistic knowledge. The research points to a specific ritualistic approach involving a rare combination of elements, symbols, and incantations designed to sever Entity Zero's connection to our reality and obliterate it. Proposed method. Ritual components. Sacred relics. The method involves using ancient relics believed to have the power to disrupt the entity's essence. These relics need to be gathered from specific locations linked to the entity's history. Symbolic constructs. Creating and inscribing powerful symbols and runes that act as wards and barriers against the entity. These symbols must be drawn in precise locations to create a containment field. Incantations. Invocation of binding spells. The ritual requires chanting incantations that invoke forces beyond our realm to bind and nullify Entity Zero's power. These incantations are said to be capable of severing the entity's ties to our dimension. Convergence ceremony. A final convergence ceremony must be performed to channel the collected energies and forces to destroy the entity. This requires perfect timing and alignment of celestial events to ensure success. Immediate actions. Return to the town. Reconnaissance. Upon returning to the town, I will conduct a thorough reconnaissance to gather the necessary components and identify key locations for the ritual. Engaging with locals. I may need to cautiously interact with any remaining townsfolk who might possess knowledge or items related to the entity's lore and rituals. Executing the ritual. Timing and precision. The execution of the ritual must be timed precisely to coincide with specific celestial alignments. This timing is critical to the ritual's effectiveness and the destruction of Entity Zero. Safeguards. Throughout the process, I will maintain constant vigilance and employ protective measures to shield myself from any residual influence or manifestations of Entity Zero. Emotional and logistical considerations. Emotional impact. Personal resolve. Returning to the town and confronting Entity Zero is an emotionally taxing decision, but it is driven by a sense of duty and responsibility to ensure the safety of my family. Support system. Although I am leaving my family behind, I have established a support system for them, including trusted friends and professionals who can provide assistance and safety during my absence. Logistical preparation. Supplies and equipment. Ensuring that I have all necessary supplies, including protective gear, ritual components, and communication devices, is crucial for both the ritual and my safety. Contingency plans. Developing contingency plans in case of unexpected challenges or threats will be an essential part of my preparation. Conclusion. Returning to the town to confront and potentially destroy Entity Zero is a daunting but necessary step. The knowledge gained about the entity's destruction provides a glimmer of hope for ending the threat once and for all. My focus now is on executing the plan with precision and ensuring the safety of my family during this perilous endeavor. Further updates will be provided as I make progress in the town and as the situation develops. Thank you for your continued support and understanding during this critical and challenging time. Final update. Overview. After a harrowing and intense battle, I successfully managed to destroy Entity Zero. However, this victory came at an unimaginable cost, the loss of my son. The journey has been fraught with sacrifice and emotional turmoil, and I am left to grapple with the profound grief of losing a loved one while reflecting on the events that transpired. The confrontation. Execution of the ritual. Preparation. I meticulously prepared for the final confrontation with Entity Zero, gathering the necessary relics, performing the intricate ritualistic procedures, and aligning with the celestial timing required for the ritual's success. The battle. The ritual was performed with precision and intensity. Entity Zero's presence was overwhelming, its reality-warping influence creating a chaotic and terrifying environment. Despite the entity's formidable power, the ritual successfully severed its connection to our dimension and destroyed it. Loss of my son. The tragic outcome. During the critical moments of the ritual, the situation took a tragic turn. In the chaos, my son became separated from us. Despite my best efforts to protect him, he was caught in the aftermath of Entity Zero's destruction. The force of the ritual and the entity's final manifestation proved too powerful, and I lost him amidst the turmoil. Grief and trauma. The loss of my son has left me devastated. The emotional and psychological impact of witnessing his death, combined with the intense strain of the ritual, has been overwhelming. Aftermath and reflection. Emotional impact. Profound grief. The grief of losing my son is profound and all-encompassing. It is a heavy burden to bear, knowing that his life was sacrificed in the fight against Entity Zero. Guilt and reflection. I am grappling with intense feelings of guilt and reflection. The responsibility of having taken this decision and the subsequent loss weighs heavily on me. Family situation. Communication. I have informed my wife and remaining family members of the outcome. They are understandably heartbroken and in shock. The impact of this loss on them is profound, and we are seeking support and counseling to navigate this tragic period together. Support network. We are reaching out to trusted friends, family, and mental health professionals to help us cope with the grief and trauma we are experiencing. This support is crucial as we try to rebuild our lives in the wake of this devastating event. Moving forward. Personal healing. Coping mechanisms. I am actively seeking therapy and support to address the deep emotional scars left by the loss of my son and the traumatic experiences of the past months. Finding ways to heal and come to terms with the events is a priority. Honoring my son. I am committed to honoring my son's memory by creating a lasting tribute or memorial to celebrate his life and the courage he showed. This will serve as a reminder of his strength and the love we shared. Family and future. Rebuilding. The process of rebuilding our lives after this loss will take time. My focus will be on providing support to my wife and other family members while navigating our new reality without our son. Continued safety. Although Entity Zero is no longer a threat, we will continue to be cautious and vigilant about any potential residual effects or dangers related to our past experiences. Conclusion. The destruction of Entity Zero marks the end of a long and grueling battle, but it has come with the heart-wrenching cost of losing my son. As we navigate this new chapter, my focus will be on healing from the grief, honoring my son's memory, and supporting my family through this incredibly difficult time. Thank you for your understanding and support throughout this journey. Further updates will be provided as we work to find stability and peace in the wake of these challenging and tragic events. Final note. I want to conclude this series of updates with a heartfelt acknowledgement of the profound impact that these events have had on our lives. Entity Zero has been dealt with, and its threat has been eradicated. However, this victory came at a devastating cost with the loss of my son. Current situation. Grief and healing. My wife, daughter, and I are deeply grieving the loss of our son. The process of mourning and finding a way to heal from this tragedy is ongoing. We are focusing on supporting each other and navigating this challenging time as a family. Personal reflection. This experience has been incredibly taxing, both emotionally and psychologically. We are working to come to terms with the events that transpired and the sacrifice made. Future updates. No further updates. At this time, I will no longer be providing updates. The focus now is on personal healing and rebuilding our lives as we adjust to this new reality without our son. Thank you to everyone who has supported us throughout this journey. Your understanding and compassion have been deeply appreciated during these trying times. As we move forward, we will cherish the memories of our son and strive to find peace and resilience in the aftermath of our experiences.